One of the biggest passion points through all of my life has always been print media. For a long time it was kind of what I wanted to do as a job. It might still be in some format. I feel like we live in a very digital world and it's becoming increasingly difficult to enjoy yourself in a way that doesn't involve a screen or the internet. And I know I sound a little bit like Burn the Witch, technology is the devil. That's not the case. I love it. That's my whole life, my whole job. But I've always loved the way that you can just switch off, take things in through your eyes in a kind of organic, papery way. I'm getting very sentimental. I just love magazines. I'm Becky. This is my new channel called Ginger, and it's a place that I'm going to be sharing things that are my deep passion points. I wanted a fresh start. I've been on YouTube for 12 years. It's mainly for fun. In this series, I'm going to be showing you a different magazine each week. Some of them are going to be really old, some of them are going to be really new, some of them are going to be from the future, who knows? I just wanted to look at the stories inside them, especially the ones that may have been lost to time, and look at them through a 2019 lens. And this week, I would like to show you a little magazine called Picturegoer. Now, if you've ever been vintage shopping, you'll have come across these. They're so cheap, you can get them sometimes for like 50p an issue. And Picturegoer was one of the main British magazines. Picturegoer has been around for a huge part of the golden age of Hollywood and cinema. It began printing in kind of like the 1910s, 20s, and didn't stop until the 1960s or thereabout. You could go to the cinema nearby where you lived and pick up a copy of Picturegoer, and inside would be all these different stories, letters, thought pieces, photos, tips, tricks, recipes, all related to cinema and film. I love a golden age Hollywood film. So we can jump right in with this issue that I've got here. I've got so many of these, but I wanted to pick out this one because I thought it looked quite interesting. So let's talk about the issue in question. So this particular issue of Picturegoer was published in the week ending March 4th, 1944. And it was published every other Thursday, and it cost a 3p. And something in particular that I really like about particularly old magazines is sometimes they always have like a mark of the owner, and it's the same with like records as well, like old vinyl records. This has got written in the top left corner the name Derek in pencil, which is actually my dad's name, which is so crazy. I just really like holding something in my two hands that's from 1944, 1 year before World War II ended. And I think inside actually it reflects a lot of things about the war. But before we go in, I just wanted to show you the front cover. So you can see that this is actually printed in a few different colors primarily. There's orange, it's kind of like a sepia tone, which you could actually call orange if you wanted to. And there's also this like blue tinge on her dress. And this is my speculation. I'm not really a printing expert. I don't really know everything about that. But it's cheaper. I do know that it's cheaper to print in just one colour or two colours than in full colour. And I don't even know if they really had the technology to print. No, they did. Yeah, I think they could print full colour if they wanted to. I think it would just be really expensive and so unnecessary for something that got published bi-weekly. So it seems to me like the front cover of this issue of Picturegoer was actually in black and white, and they've selectively coloured little parts such as her dress. I believe that her dress was originally white and they've just chosen to put this blue colour over it to make it stand out. Same for her nails. You can see that maybe they were a darker colour, but they've definitely topped it up with a little bit of the orange there, and you know, her lipstick as well. And this is something which we know happens with photo restoration and recoloring. I think Vox did a really good video about how to like restore old photographs and what goes into it. But it's interesting to see those techniques kind of taking place on a mass scale in terms of publishing a magazine. Anyway, let's go inside. Amy Sheridan's on the front cover.
What's your name, miss? I have to file a report.
It's Prentice, Nora Prentice.
Where do you live?
Golden Gate Apartments down the street on the other side.
Occupation?
I'm a singer.
And immediately, this is really interesting to me. There's an advert at the top left, and it says, "Our hospitals urgently need thousands of domestic workers. 10,000 women are needed now in British hospitals to provide the support without which the task of our doctors and nurses will be impossible. Domestic workers are wanted for full or part-time as cooks, assistant cooks, housemaids, ward maids, dining room maids, kitchen staff, or as cleaners. Without their help, the hospitals may not be able to carry on at this critical time. Your local employment exchange will give you full details of urgent jobs that are waiting now in hospitals, sanatoria, nursing homes, convalescent homes, homes for incurables, mental institutions." God, it's really of the time, isn't it? "This domestic work is a priority job issued by the Ministry of Labour and National Service." Right there, pride of place in the magazine, top left, first advert you see, is about the war. So interesting. And down here as well, this Max Factor advertisement.
Yes, it's Max Factor's top secret that keeps her hair so neat all day.
Your world of new beauty is just around the corner. For you and every woman, there is a world of new beauty just around the corner. It is beginning right now in the film capital laboratories of Max Factor Hollywood. Here you will find ingenious cosmetic chemists testing and creating thrilling new aids to beauty, exciting new fashions in makeup to make you lovelier, more alluring, and devastating as any movie star, in the happy, carefree days of the peace to come. Meantime, from now to victory, we suggest you use your makeup sparingly, buy only what you need. Isn't that so interesting? See, even like, because I feel like nowadays we do have a lot of, I guess, like social responsibility. You know, if there's a big incident that goes on and you don't tweet about it and you don't say, you know, sending my love and wishes to the victims, people ask you, do you not care? Do you not even care about it? And it's the same for advertising. You know, a lot of companies will pull their advertising at times of a terror attack or any kind of devastating incident because they don't want to be seen to not be focusing on what everybody else is focusing on. So I guess in the wartime, Max Factor still wanted to advertise. They just had to really make themselves look responsible. You know, don't buy any more makeup that you don't necessarily need, even though you don't need any makeup. And it really does sell in Max Factor's Hollywood reputation because they always say that they're like a heritage Hollywood brand, but I think it's hard to actually tell that and see that until you see them advertising in like the 40s in Picturegoer. Now here's the editor's letter. I don't actually know who the editor is. I don't think it says his name, but he's got this article here and he's talking about Noel Coward's In Which We Serve. And he's basically talking about how nowadays, and not nowadays right now, but nowadays in the past, how the film stars are not just acting anymore, but they're actually starting to produce, direct, be in charge of, you know, the look and feel, the setting, the costumes, and really have a lot more input. He's got a little quote here, let me see. Now it says here, there was a time when a star considered it his business to act and not to worry about the 101 things that go to the making of a picture. But Noel Coward has changed all that. He was a writer, producer, co-director and star, and he did them all brilliantly. True, but Noel Coward is Noel Coward because he is the great exception. But obviously our movie makers don't see it in that light. They have a theory that a star actor can be producer and director in addition to being the leading man. I am only dealing with men since women stars have so far escaped the infection. Oh, but isn't this interesting? This is like the turning point of actors not just being actors anymore, and actually this man Noel Coward must have been a revolutionary in his time.
Now, I should like to sing you a new song that I only wrote a few weeks ago, and it was inspired by the dangerous and difficult years through which we are all living. Life today is hectic, our world is running away, only the wise can recognize the process of decay.
And the editor is saying that yes, Noel Coward did a great job and he's good at it, but not everybody should be the director and the writer of their own film. I mean, it seems like we're also almost going backwards into the beginnings of a lot of people's careers nowadays, in which you start out being the writer, the director, the producer, the cinematographer, the actor, because you can't afford to pay anybody else to do it for you. You have to start somewhere, and if nobody else is going to share your passion, then you better just do it yourself. But at this time, when resources and access to filmmaking equipment was so scarce, you kind of had to enter it from the one point on your one point of speciality, which would be being a filmmaker, a cinematographer, director, actor. And if you got the opportunity then to, you know, we would see it going backwards and actually doing it all yourself, that would be really different and unusual for that time. The editor says, it's a plea for the shoemaker to stick to his last unless he is a genius. And it is for our movie makers to decide what genius means. Let them take a line from Hollywood where star actors are engaged to act and not to run a whole production. It is much cheaper in the end. Interesting. It's really interesting. I don't actually know what to make of it. I kind of don't agree with him. I think if you want to do more than one thing, you should. We're kind of in a, I think somebody said once, a generation slashy. Not like going for a slash like a we, but I'm kind of a YouTuber slash marketer slash Instagrammer slash photographer slash editor slash I do so much different stuff. It's really hard now to explain what I do and who I am because I got too many slashes in my job title. Here's an interesting part, and this is a part which I really love looking at, and it's the letters from the readers. And the kind of discussion of this issue, March 4th, 1944, is broken English attractive? And everyone in this issue is basically talking about J.C. Houston's letter. So J.C. Houston was a reader of one of the former issues, and he wrote a letter basically talking about actors speaking broken English. And by broken English, they basically mean putting on a non-native accent to what their native language is, I assume. So it would be them speaking with a Russian accent. If it was me, for example, I was the actor, me putting on like a Russian accent or a French accent, or even in some ways, I guess, an American accent, because that's not my native accent. The film that they're talking about is the Demi Paradise with Laurence Olivier.
Хорошо. And what a language. I don't ken why they can't speak decent English like you and me.
That's the trouble with foreigners, mate. They're not like you and me.
Here in Russia, you are the foreigner.
Thank you. Blimey, he speaks English.
Calling us foreigners too.
But you are.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Here, chum, how's it come you speak English?
I like it.
Have you ever been to England?
Oh, yes, I have seen it all.
And apparently the character that he was portraying was a Russian, completely new to England and its peculiarities. But then it says, partly his broken English, i.e. his Russian fake accent, was part of what caused so much amusement to the viewers. Which I think is probably, that doesn't really fly now. Like, you can't really use a non-native accent as the punchline of the joke. But it is the 40s, I guess. Everybody else has written letters saying whether they think that people in films should use or put on accents or whether they shouldn't. And this letter in particular, H.N. Westrope, really stands out to me because it says, I do not agree with your correspondent, J.C. Houston, concerning broken English. It makes the characterization much more natural to me if the actor speaks in the accent of the country he is supposed to represent. A very small percentage of picturegoers are able to judge whether the accent is correct. That's so interesting because I guess in the 40s, the media is how we know what an accent is supposed to sound like. YouTube videos, films, TV, and like the whole globalization that we're going through, which I think is a great thing. It's better to have a more authentic representation than not so authentic. But this person's saying that actually a lot of people who are going to the films won't even be able to tell if it's an accurate accent or not. And I guess unless you lived in the major cities where there was a lot more movement and people traveling around. For example, I grew up in quite a small town where there was really not very many people who weren't born and raised there. And so the accent pool was very homogenous. But then there's the problem that actually if you're representing in media an accent that isn't accurate, and that's the only representation that that accent is getting in the first place, that's kind of awful because that's really swaying what the public now internalize as being an accurate accent. Another pretty part of this is here. A prize of 10 shillings and sixpence is awarding to Philip Wilding of 17 Dudley Road, Wimbledon, SW19. They're putting everyone's full addresses in this. This is mad. You can't really do that anymore. What's going to happen? Is like someone going to turn up at your house and be like, I didn't like your letter that you wrote into Picturegoer in the 40s. Do you still live here? Oh my God. But look, he drew this beautiful portrait of Betty Grable and you can see all like the little pencil marks. It's so stunning. It's tiny, but I'm happy to be seeing it with my eyes in 2019 when it was sealed away to time in these little pages. Of course, it's not just all writing in Picturegoer. There's also a lot of beautiful stills and frames from films. And here's some from Lady in the Dark. A drama with music tells the story of a highly successful career woman, intensely unhappy until a psychoanalyst discovers the cause through interpretation of her fantastic dreams.
Miss Elliot, you've heard the charges against you? Have you made up your mind about any of these things?
No, I haven't.
Do you intend to?
I don't know.
Can you give this court a reasonable explanation for not making up your mind?
Yes, I can.
There once was a girl named Jenny, whose virtues were varied and many, excepting that she was inclined always to make up her mind.
I believe that Ginger Rogers is the star of this, and you can see her beautiful dresses, costumes, A spectacular dream sequence with Ginger as a bride. The bride seems hesitant in her responses and wavers as the final moment nears. I really want to watch this. I haven't seen this. Look at her suit. She's power dressing. And the hair. Gosh, it's beautiful. The back page is always one of the most fun, and there's a few cute things here. A miner's makeup maxim. Hilda's on a hush-hush task. Somewhere near you mustn't ask. Where the life is plain and rough, and the going's pretty tough. But 3 days of hard exposure, Hilda sails with calm composure. Wind and rain can do their worst, for she puts on miners first. Miners is a foundation, which I don't think exists anymore, but interesting. And then there's a little recipe. 2 egg recipes, especially for the children. Scrambled egg filling or 3 bears bread pudding. And it says at the bottom here, this is interesting. Double ration for the children. Children holding green books are allowed 2 packets of dried eggs per ration book during the present 4-week period. So I guess that the Ministry of Food in London would use Picturegoer as a way to also communicate to the masses. And there we go. The back cover, some beautiful adverts. Cigarettes, pride and place. But what more do you want? I think that's enough for now. I really hope that you enjoyed reading that issue of Picturegoer with me. I love looking into the past. And I think my favourite bit, you know, in all magazines and TV, I just love watching the adverts. It's so interesting. It's particularly interesting to see adverts for brands that we still have nowadays in the past. Now, I know that I kind of flicked through it a little bit quickly. If you want to read every single page in this issue, make sure that you sign up to my mailing list. I'll have a link in the description down below. I don't really trust the YouTube subscription box. So if you're on my mailing list, you'll know exactly when I upload, and also I'll have extra bits in there for you as well. But if you sign up using the link, you'll get a download of all the pages of Picturegoer. And let's hope that the original publisher doesn't sue me. Next time when we're looking at magazines, I'm going to be showing you one from the present day, or is it the future? Weapons of Reason is a really incredible contemporary magazine, and this whole issue is all about AI. I finished reading it over the weekend. It was incredible. It was so insightful. Talks all about the past, present and future of AI and machine learning. I'm really excited to delve into it. Look at these pages. It is beautiful. It is produced by a design agency called Human After All, based in London. I'm obsessed. And I can't wait to show you all about it, and we can have a big discussion about AI and machine learning. Even though I don't trust YouTube subscriptions, I would still like it if you subscribed and if you turn on the little bell, because apparently you have to do that. I literally hate asking, so don't make me any more uncomfortable and make me have to ask you again, okay? It would really help me out. And also make sure you go and follow me on Instagram. That's my other favourite social media. Alright, that's everything. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you next time.